We're live. Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of Scam School. Where is it? Scam School Part 2. First part was how many hours live? Maybe
4.
4 hours
Plus
long.
something.
Whew. But we had, I think it's what, 7 guys have shared their scam story in part 1. So if you missed it, you definitely want to go back. It's in the description below this video in the link. And here these 7 guys spill their guts as to how they were scammed, which websites. For the very first time publicly, I exposed the top 99 scam sites according to your independent poll or vote over 5 years as data was collected. So, and then we drill down on the top 13. Yeah, and it's just loaded with media, visuals, pictures. It's literally a PhD in, yeah, how to spot a scammer and how to pull the plug, how to get out. And now, for part 2, we're focused on how to get it right. Okay, so before you got it wrong, you were scammed. Let's pick up the pieces, get up, dust yourself off, and do it right this time. So this part 2 is all about how to be successful, how to meet and marry a beautiful Ukrainian lady, right? Like I have been so fortunate to do. And I know I'm punching way above my weight class. I got lucky. What can I say? So we're going to have a special guest on now. Okay. And let's play his video. And at the end of part 2 here, I'm going to announce the winner. Yeah. One of the 7 guys that shared their scam stories with us today in part 1 is going to win our $10,000 value lifetime matchmaking. So unlimited dating of our ladies, full match guarantee team support until you walk down the aisle. Like this gentleman did.
More than hours wedding video.
Wow, what an amazing happy story. What do you think, Ernesto?
Match guarantee is the real deal. Match guarantee kicks ass.
Okay, good enough. Let's say hello to the groom, Gary in Wales. Welcome, Gary.
Hello, Gary.
Audio.
Oh.
Or we have audio? Yeah. What happened? Now we have no audio? No audio.
Our studio.
Wonder what happened. We just...
Can you hear me now?
Now we can. Yeah. Welcome.
Okay, welcome. I don't know what's happening. I'll give up on these.
Yeah, it's not nearly as good a sound, but but you're looking good. You're looking good. That's the important thing.
Thank you.
So welcome. Yeah. Wow. Where do we start? From the beginning, hey? You maybe introduce yourself, how old you are, what your profession is, and yeah, how did you find such a beauty?
Yeah, of course. Happy to do that. So my name's Gary. I live in the UK, actually in a part of the UK called Wales, in the southern part of Wales. And my dating story, as far as Ukraine is concerned, started really at the sort of tail end of 2020. So sort of about 18 months plus ago, really. At that time, I was 54 years of age, and I'd come out of a long-term relationship, and really I took the opportunity to just think about what I wanted for my future, really. So I started to obviously look what may be available locally. Actually, several years previously, before my long-term relationship, I had sort of looked at what was then something called blue sapphires, which some people may know about, some people may not remember. It was a sort of predecessor to AFA, and it was the same sort of thing. It was a PPL type operation, and I sort of dipped my toes in a little bit, but I didn't commit myself too much financially. And then I met a local woman and sort of put it to bed, really. So when this relationship ended, I thought, do you know what? I sort of fancied the idea again of looking again further afield rather than outside of my sort of own sphere, if you like. So yeah, that's how I started looking at it. Really, is what may be available in you know, in Ukraine, and started doing a bit of internet research. Looked at actually AFA and a few of the others that were mentioned earlier on, but then actually happened across you guys, and I started watching your videos basically. And one I remember in particular was about the lie detector that Tatiana took, and I thought that was really fascinating, a really good idea too, in terms of, I guess, the proof of the pudding, you know, and seeing that you were prepared to test your own people, put those results live out. And I thought that was fairly unique. So that was something that sort of attracted my interest. So I started sort of poking on your website, really, looking at what was available, who was there. And it sort of went from there. So unlike the other guys, I wasn't really, you know, drawn into the whole PPL thing. I saw it for what it was fairly early on. And, you know, I sort of dipped my toe in the water with Match Guaranty. I took, at the time, there was some sort of, I think, some sort of deal around, you could pick, you know, 10, you could put 10 to put your, you know, your letter in. I had some coaching from Luba, prepared the letter, that went out to 10. I had a really good response rate, actually, surprisingly. I didn't think I would, but I did. I think
you did. What did you get? 80% or something?
I got 8. Yeah, I got 8 back. Yeah,
8 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was really happy with that. And oh, by the way,
and you married the most beautiful one of them all. So again, kudos.
Of course, you know. Actually, she was my first pick because of the ones. You know, obviously you don't tell the 10 who your favorite is, but you said.
Dying to ask you a question. Did she marry you because she has a secret fantasy about handcuffs and police? She loves the man in uniform.
Well, one of my photos was in uniform, actually. But yeah, she never made much of it, to be honest. But I would, once we'd started sort of dating, video dating, you know, I used to send her the odd picture when I was at work, sort of thing. So yeah, she was always interested in what I was doing and sort of things I was up to. But of course, the biggest challenge for us was COVID, because the whole thing started really in terms of our first video date, September 2020, and we were still very much in the throes of COVID. So
yeah, basically you met her on, she was your first Skype date, right? And it was during COVID.
Yeah,
she was. Yeah, COVID. Absolutely.
And you had to nurture that relationship until you could fly out of the UK to Ukraine. What?
Yeah,
9
absolutely. Months? I mean, I didn't expect to have to wait as long as we waited. Okay, so I think the first video date we had was the beginning of September. It was the, you know, the one that you offer before you become a client. At the time, that was the case. So yeah, I had that video date. It went superbly well, you know, much better than I thought, because I thought she was really attractive from the photos, and that's really how I picked her. Plus, she could speak English, good level of English, and she was a, you know, professional lady. So, you know, it ticked a lot of boxes for me just from the profile. So yeah, you set up the date, and again, Luba helped out with the date. She was my sort of dating coach from Match Guaranty at the time, and we got like a house on fire, literally. You know, I think we were allocated about 20 minutes, half hour for that initial video date. I think we were still talking about an hour and a quarter in, and Luba sort of came and said, "Look, you've had enough, it's too long," you know. And you know, maybe you want to follow up afterwards type of thing. And I remember, it made me laugh actually, because I remember part of your coaching is, if you're interested in the lady and, you know, you want to carry on, you must ask before the end of that first few date whether she's prepared to stay in contact with you. So I had this line ready. I had it there. I thought, yeah, this is
Ask for the
good.
number. Ask for her number.
I was going to go for it, but she beat me to it, actually.
Yeah.
She actually said, I want to stay in touch. So, you know, I sort of...
Now that you're married to her, you understand why, right? Yeah, it all makes sense.
So really, yeah, it was sort of from the get-go, really. But yeah, I never expected to have to wait as long as we did end up waiting before we met in person, because it was sort of September time. COVID rules were sort of relaxing in the UK, although there was still an international sort of travel ban, really. You could only travel for what they were calling essential purposes. So I knew I wouldn't be able to see her, but we sort of tentatively arranged, look, let's think about New Year. Let's see if we can meet New Year, something like that. So I thought, it's far enough in advance. It's 3 months away. You know, surely we'll be okay to meet then. But no, it carried on and it rolled on and it rolled on. And we made several, you know, dates to meet when I would fly to Kiev to meet her for the first time. But they all fell foul of COVID.
Can I please pause you for a second? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I just want to make point for guys that you know, it's this COVID lockdown. It wasn't something that under your control. You know, it's not like not your desire not to come and meet her, right?
Yeah.
You was in this situation when you have, you know, to keep this distance, and you cannot, you know, affect on it, right? And he was able to buy tickets as soon as the lockdown finished and come to her, right?
Correct.
And that's the key, guys, you know, because when we start this long distance relationship, some guys think that it's okay to be in a relationship for half a year, 1 year, with no planning to come. And this, it just will lead you to the wrong path, you know. It will break up your relationship, you know. One situation when you cannot influence this, another situation when you don't plan, you know, and don't notice, especially now during war. It's this time like become cut it to 1-2 months, yeah, to meet as soon as possible. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, because we never intended to delay it. The plan will
How do you Brits call your ass? What slang term do you have for the ass? Get off your ass.
Ass is okay.
Ass is okay. Get off your ass, guys, is what we're saying. You got to get off your ass. Tip number 1.
Yeah. So you're right. So we always intended to do it. It's just we physically presented. And actually, I remember booking, you know, flights in advance on a number of occasions. And every time we couldn't go, there was almost that sense of disappointment. Okay. And what I would say is, it did become a little bit strained, because we sort of got to the point where, as keen as we were to meet each other, we almost thought, this isn't going to happen. You know, we thought, it's going on too long. Will we be able to sustain it without meeting? You know, and I think it was, as I said, we had the first video date beginning of September 2020, and we met for the first time towards the end of May 2021. So you can see it was 8 months or so of 8 months plus or so of sort of video and dating and calling. Initially, that was fairly limited, a couple of times a week, maybe once or twice a week. We would have pre-arranged it initially through Viber and then through WhatsApp. After that, I became a Match Guaranty client, of course. And then it sort of momentum grew, and we were speaking 2-3 times a day most days, up until the point I arrived, really. But you know, there was still that nervous tension when I flew, even though we'd been in the video dating situation for sort of 8+ months, because we still hadn't met in person, of course. So we still didn't really know about chemistry. We still didn't really know, you know.
Tell us what possessed you to fly in and meet her after 9 months of Skype meetings, with a ring in your pocket on the first weekend. Tell us what possessed you and how did it go?
We used to have long and meaningful conversations, okay, on video for the most part. And of course, we would test each other. We would say, so, you know, when do you think you might want to get married, and what would be the deciding factor about this? So we were sort of feeling each other out a bit, really. So, you know, I'd got to the point after 8 months, I thought, do you know what? I haven't met this person physically, but I think I already know her very well. It was almost like an 8-month courtship, because I think we'd exhausted every possible subject.
Well, and you had already how many baths together?
Yeah, yeah, that was always interesting, because you know she was very busy, as was I, and we often, you know, the catch up sometimes was late in the evening, and she used to love lying in the bath, but I never got a sneaky peek at anything. Never got a sneaky peek. She's a really traditional lady, so it was, you know, it was head up, so I could tell she was in the bath, but never a sneaky peek. And also, if she ever needed to get up, she would just turn the screen off. So like, I promise, you know, I'll close my eyes, but no, I never got a
Close
sneak
my
peek.
eyes.
Yes, like this. You know. So I never got a sneak peek. So yeah, it was.
Okay, so you flew in on the weekend to meet her with the ring in the pocket. Yeah,
I did. With a ring in my pocket, with the intention of asking her, but still subject to how it would be. So she had no knowledge that I had this ring, and I didn't say I'm coming here to propose to you. We were coming to meet, you know. But yeah, I just remember something really well, because of course it was still COVID, so we were, you know, masked up on the flights all through the airport, and it was at the time actually in the airports where people couldn't come into the terminal to greet you, so they had to stay outside. So I just remember landing, getting my luggage, coming through, and of course there's nobody there. So my first thought was, what if she's not here? What if I've come all of this way and she's just not here, right? Because there's nobody there. There's nobody there. But of course, as you walk through the terminal, you get to the glass doors and whatever. And I do remember seeing her through the glass. So she couldn't see me because it was like one-way glass. But I do remember seeing her through the glass. And I just remember thinking, wow, she looks even more amazing in person than she does on video and photo. I just remember thinking, wow, it was just, she couldn't see me. I remember her looking to see where I was.
That ring was coming out of the pocket already, wasn't it?
I was just looking, I thought, wow, that was amazing. You know, she just looked sensational. And when I got through, she was still looking, she couldn't quite see me. And I just shouted, Elena, and sort of the look, you know, the look. That's you, because I've heard your voice so many times, but I can't quite see you. And yeah, we sort of met. You know, it wasn't a big sort of like running along the beach embrace type of thing. It was just a, you know, really good to see you, really good to meet you, sort of thing. A little bit of an embrace, and then she'd really thoughtfully got some coffees for us, you know, and some pastries and things like that to eat in the car. So she made some plans, and I was really impressed with that. And you know, she drove us then to the hotel I booked for the weekend, and I was the proper gent. I gave her the option. I said, "It's up to you if you want to stay here or not. Doesn't matter. We can spend the weekend together. I don't expect you to stay with me in a room if you don't want to," type of thing. So, you know, we made it relaxed from the off. But again, the other thing I was really impressed with is that, you know, we obviously knew what dates I would be there, and it was a long weekend. It was Friday to Monday. Like a full itinerary, you know, a full list of things that we were going to do together and places we were going to visit, and just a lot of thought and attention into that initial meeting that, you know, that she'd set up. So,
I mean, wait till later, please. Be patient.
Is this an X-rated channel now?
Sorry. Well, I don't know. What are you doing? Okay, sorry. You're interrupting here. Okay.
No, so how it turned out, actually, I already knew that on the Saturday evening, the sort of second day I was there, we were going to be meeting her parents. Okay, and obviously it's a big thing. Anna will know this, you will know it as well, Joe. It's a big thing, okay? Family approval almost is a big thing. It's very important to her.
Especially with a 17-year age gap.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. Did you hear Anna yesterday? When did you say it? Recently. I was asking, how am I going to ask my parents? How am I going to tell my parents, my brother? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cut
No,
it.
it's more of a big deal. It really is. It's more of a what? You cut it? What? Oh, she lied. Oh my God, you did. You lied to your mom.
I just said something 40 plus, but I don't remember, like close to 50. But I don't
That's
know.
right. You told your brother the truth, but you lied to your mom. Bad girl.
So, do you know
I
what, right?
didn't want to blow up at the
I
beginning.
know. And I think I was more conscious about the age gap than she was. You know, I was quite conscious about it. You know, I hadn't dated anyone that much younger than me before. You know, my relationships, I guess, in the West were pretty much standard. You know, yes, the ladies were a bit younger than me, but no more than sort of 4 or 5 years. So that was quite a big age gap for me. And you know,
For her too, buddy.
yeah, for sure. And she was
Yeah.
honest, and she said, look, I did think about that. You know, I'd be lying if I didn't. It's not normal. I've heard Anna say this many times, you know, in the videos, that it's not normal. Sometimes Western guys think, oh yeah, you can go there, it's like picking fruit from a tree, you know, we can pick these young girls and everything's going to be fine. No, you know, it's all about matching. It's all about, you know, compatibility and all those things, as if it's just a 2-year age gap. So it doesn't really matter. I think it's got to be right. You know, there's no guarantee that because you're a Western man that you're going to be able to go there and pick up.
There's no match guarantees. Come on.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. And I read all your stuff, obviously, and watched your videos around the, you know, the zones of success and all that sort of stuff. So I was quite conscious. And actually, she was the oldest age gap in the list of 10, because in my list of 10, I picked ladies, you know, from the age of, at the time, she was sort of 37, going on 38, up to sort of late 40s. So, you know, I was quite realistic. I did do quite a spread, really. So, you know, I immediately thought anybody in their 20s, no, don't be such a fool, okay? I'm not insulting anybody, but, you know, who thinks otherwise. But for me, I thought, I'm not going to have anything in common with somebody in their 20s for a start. You know, and you know, no matter how active I feel and how, you know, how in shape I keep myself, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still, at the time, a 54-year-old guy. So why would I be chasing someone in their 20s? So, you know, I was sort of realistic in my own expectations in that regard. But anyway, what I'll say is there are many very, very beautiful Ukrainian ladies in their 40s and 50s, because they tend to look after themselves very well. So you shouldn't really drive your decision making, for me, purely upon age. It shouldn't just be 37 is going to be better than 42. You'd be surprised if you actually get off your ass and go there. You'll see the quality, really, and you know, there's some, you know, beautiful ladies in their late 40s, you know, that are sensational, really, and therefore age for me wasn't a big driver. So I didn't pick Elena because, oh, I've got someone who's 17 years younger than me. I picked her because I saw compatibility, you know, in her interests, in her profession, in what she did, and yes, she was very attractive to me, no doubt about that. But you know, I did, you know, if she'd have gone no, then it wouldn't have bothered me to pick someone in their 40s. You know, it wasn't a driver for me. It wasn't a driver.
Talking about age gap, you know, I don't know how about I mean, if a woman has loving, very good relationship with her parents, normally first question like, oh, he was on a date? What's his name? Number one question, yeah, first name. And it's like from name you can understand if he's Ukrainian or he's foreigner. And then second question, how old is he? You know, not his occupation, nothing. How old is he? So it's like, you know, and if women really like the man, that's the time when, you know, you cannot blow up this relationship, even don't give him opportunity to meet parents, you know, because he can be, I don't know, good looking or good, you know, you really like him. And then because of, you know, parents can have bad attitude. So it's, yeah, what women face, and sometimes don't tell all how it is.
Do you know, I never asked her actually whether she sort of told them how old I was. There we are. That was our first.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I thought I'd put up the picture. It's been a long time since the video. So just so we know, You can brag about her beauty on the photo.
Mhm.
That was the first weekend, actually. That was one of the places we visited. So that's the first weekend we met. But
That
I
was
didn't
the first weekend, right? That photo,
Yeah,
first
it's the
weekend.
first weekend. Yeah, first
Yeah,
weekend we
yeah.
met. It was a beautiful spring weekend. The weather was amazing in Kiev all weekend. You know,
Uh-huh.
so it was beautiful. But yeah, we had a fantastic time, and that was one of the sights. But yeah, I'm not sure that she'd sort of told them how old I was before I met them. But you know, we again nervously go into their home, isn't it, with her. I had gifts for them, obviously, you know, and for her nieces and whatever as well. And yeah, I turned up. I thought it was just going to be her mum and dad, but it wasn't. It was her mum and dad, and it was sister-in-law and nieces and whatever. So it was almost like
Was the whole family? Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I you know, by this time obviously I'd had a couple of days with her. I was pretty set on proposing, really. So I had the ring. You know, she again knew nothing about it. And you know, we had a lovely dinner with the family. It was really nice. You know, they were obviously very interested in finding out about me. She has a little girl, so you know she was around there as well, and
Sure,
Not
what
again.
you
Come
do?
on.
I just want to see comments. There is guy write something.
Can wait.
Okay.
so yeah, I was. Her dad speaks good English actually, and yeah, so so when she was away, sort of putting her little girl to bed, I spoke with her father and said, look, you know, I'm quite serious about Elena. You
Very
know,
traditional.
yeah, we've been dating now for
Yeah, I didn't do it. I'm traditional, but I don't know. I didn't do it. Bad boy.
So
I was like,
No,
I don't care if I get a yes or a no, so I'm not gonna ask.
no, but later I think.
yeah.
You ready to say yes? You go to father, yeah? No.
So yeah, I did sort of do the old thing, and you know, I didn't say, can I have your permission? I wasn't that traditional, but I did sort of say, look, what would you feel about it? What would you feel about, you know, us being together, you know, that sort of basis, you know,
And
him
father
They
said,
didn't. They didn't say this word. Did they? Yoki palki. No. No. That's good.
okay, but Gary's
Did they say Boże mój?
Irina's father is exceptional. He speaks English.
Yeah, yeah, he
My
speaks
father
English.
doesn't speak.
Yeah.
How he would not through Google Translator.
Yeah.
It will be funny.
No,
Yeah.
they were, you know, they were sort of, well, you know, you're old, you know, not sort of insulting anything, but you're both mature enough to know your own minds, and if you feel that, you know, it's something that you can make work with all of the challenges around culture and nationalities and all the rest of it, all the challenges you're going to have going forward, then we would support your commitment with this, you know. So it was like, okay, thank you very much, type of thing. So it was a while actually. I thought Elaine had left the apartment, but she came back later, and I just proposed to her in front of her parents, basically. And the funny thing was, though, right? There was a pause. There was a little pause. So you know, I did the old "Will you marry me" type thing, and there was like a pause, and I thought, this one in the script. What are you thinking about? And it was this little bit of a pause. It was only like 5 seconds or something, but it felt like 10 minutes. I was like, so yes. So there was this thought process. So I said to her, what were you thinking about? I said, well, it was just a really big moment. One, I didn't expect it. I really didn't expect it. I know we talked about it, but I didn't expect it. And secondly, when it came, I was just like, oh, just a little bit taken aback. So she said, you know, I just needed that little bit of a, hold on a minute, he's asked me to marry him moment before she said yes. And I remember then the funny thing as well, you know, I gave her the ring and she was very pleased and all of it. And the following morning was actually, we were out in Kiev again, we were having some coffee. And then she started telling me all her bad points. was like, okay, can I have it back? And it was just things like, oh, you need to know I got to have a coffee in the morning, and these are some of my red lines. I guess it was all the serious stuff that we hadn't gone into, because I guess with hindsight we didn't know each other that well, despite the fact that we'd had 8 months on video, So I was just saying, look, you need to know these new things about me, type of thing, And I
all
did the same.
all her perfect imperfections. Yeah.
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 So,
well, Guaranty, you guys have a very inspiring story, and I can say, what I love your story, but some of the things I love most about your story is that, like the wartime is now, the war, Ukraine's at war. It's a terrible situation for Ukrainian people. But guys have the same choice now as they did during COVID. COVID was a 2-year-long excuse. I can't travel.
I disagree with you, and I tell you why I disagree with you. Okay, is that in COVID I couldn't travel at all. In war, I could travel to Poland, Portugal, Spain, Germany. I could go wherever I wanted to meet these ladies. And if that was an option for us, we'd have taken that option, because we just didn't have the option at all. I just couldn't fly anywhere in the world. The only travel that was permitted was essential. So actually, I think it's easier now than it was during COVID, because yes, okay, you have the war situation in Ukraine, and let's be honest, we've all seen the pictures, absolutely awful, okay? And Elaine is very upset, and it's taking its toll on the family, really. But in terms of people wanting to develop relationships, I think it's easier now than it was during COVID, because, if we were just starting out now, then and she was in Poland, I could fly to Poland tomorrow. Or if she was in Spain or Germany, I could just go to those countries. In COVID, you just couldn't fly. It was prohibited. And the fact I'm in law enforcement as well made it doubly bad, because I had an extra set of restrictions that basically said, you're not permitted to fly, not even when it's relaxed a little bit. You've got to wait until it's totally relaxed before you can go. So it just wasn't an option for us. Whereas for now, actually, it is an option for people to meet. If there's compatibility and people have been matched, you can meet.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was in many ways a worse situation than now.
For meeting.
You couldn't go meet. Yeah. You couldn't. And so you got off your ass as soon as you could, and you went and made it happen. Now, mind you, you popped the question on the first weekend, and you got to know each other after the marriage in some respects. But hey, at least she didn't get away, How's that song go? If you like it, put a ring on it. If you like it, better put a ring on the finger.
I was very
love
conscious.
that about your story.
No, I was conscious, because you're spot on, right? I thought immediately, this is a high quality woman. Okay. So, I think some Western guys are deluding themselves, thinking that all of these Ukrainian ladies are desperate to escape Ukraine, right? And you're helping them out. It's like, you're a knight in shining armor. It's total bullshit. Okay. Most of these ladies want to stay in Ukraine, right? They're not trying to get into a relationship with a Western man to escape Ukraine. Now, the situation might be slightly different now. I'm not saying that, okay? That the war situation.
But we see that. We now have the evidence of that. I mean, there was at 1.5 million Ukrainians had left out of 44. That's still 10%. Yeah. But now they're flooding back. I don't know how many million have now come back. You can see they want to return to their homeland. So this assertion is just bullshit. This assertion that they want to latch on to a Western man to get out of Ukraine. Fallacy.
It's total bullshit, right? And obviously I've heard some of the stories, obviously, about, some ladies wanting green cards and then doing a flip. Okay. That isn't my experience, or the experience, obviously, with the lady that I've been fortunate enough to meet. But you're right, Joe, right? I identified her as a very high quality lady, right? Most ladies that are
let's talk about that. Jack makes this comment But
Yeah.
it's spot on. It's why, you got married. Peter and Ola are just about married. We just had a client last weekend that got married. And these are all, well, you're the first date. Peter's the first date. David was maybe the fifth date, his wife. Why does it happen so fast? And can you talk about the quality of, for example, Elena? You only dated Elena, so you can only talk about Elena. But tell us a little bit about your wife, about Elena. Who is she? Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course I can. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I initially I got the information from her profile. I knew she was, very well educated, spoke very good English. Those are, important traits for me. And I could see, from the photos, a lot of the ladies there will go to sort of professional photographers for their photos. So yeah, you might have the odd selfie, but then you'll see actually the effort they put in to almost like their portfolio. So it's like they've been prepared to spend a bit of their own money to sort of, make sure that they present themselves in the best light, So for me, I could see the effort that she'd put in. What sort of reinforced it? Obviously, the photos and the description is the initial bit of the attraction, the initial hook that sort of pulls you in. But again, I could just tell from the level of conversation that we were having on that first initial video date that this was really a high quality lady, very well spoken, very well educated, multiple languages, and I thought, wow, you could have your pick, and we did get into this conversation later on down the line. Why a Western man? What made you look beyond? And it's probably the same reason as me. Actually, she just wanted to broaden her horizons. She had no particular desire, for instance, to come to the UK. That wasn't anything which was on her bucket list or anything. Okay.
In fact, didn't she try to get you to come to Ukraine?
She did. And I tell you something. If that had been an option for me at the time, and if she'd have said, look, or if, let's say for argument's sake, it was not the case that I needed to stay here for my employment or whatever, that I could have gone there, and that would have been, if that would have been my choice, her preference would have been that we would have stayed there. Okay, so in no way was she looking to get out of Ukraine and come to the UK. She's here now, obviously, with me, and this is where we live. But yeah, it's a fallacy to suggest that these ladies are desperate to get out. It is true about the quality, okay, and I think you have to look, at the compatibility, So I'm a university educated man myself, I'm a professional guy that's developed a career. So I was looking for similar type of qualities with someone who also had a professional career and whatever. So I guess, there are many, many beautiful, no disrespect, many, many beautiful girls who maybe don't have that. And they would have been as physically attractive, But for me, I wasn't looking for just physical attraction. I wanted compatibility. So, to me, she's a very, very high quality person. She's extremely well educated. More than me, okay, if I'm honest.
Is she a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
She's a psychologist. She's a PhD, so she's Dr. Elena. And similarly, her parents are also very well educated. So it sort of runs in the family type of thing. Her brother, who is still in Ukraine at the moment, who's helping the war effort, he's sort of project manager type resource by sort of profession. He's coordinating fuel and food supplies there, for the resistance response, etc. So they're all of a similar quality group, if you like, and I think she's she's fantastic, really. It's not just that she's Ukrainian; she's a great person, and it helps that she's very beautiful as well.
Oh, wonderful. What was I going to ask you about?
I remember on the wedding when you invite your UK guys, families, friends. They was very impressed with Ukraine. With Ukrainian people. Like they thought it's like poor country with we have different opinion from the beginning before they experience it, right? And that's why. I think that's the key. Why like maybe Western people, until they come to Ukraine, they can have imagination. It's a poor, bad economic country that Ukrainian women desperate to leave. But in reality, when they come, then they experience traditions, life there. You know how like so many advanced IT services, so many things that you know, like cheap at the same time very high quality, and there is many great things about living in Ukraine. And when guys come and see this reality, they like, okay, now I changed my mind about Ukrainian people who they think that they're desperate. And come on, maybe it was a situation when in memory from when Soviet Union crashed, when bad economic, nothing to do, maybe that time it was like to go somewhere because it was so bad. But now, hey, Ukraine already, for 30 years been an independent country, building their economy, having a lot of, brain, there, who works for international company as well, for Ukrainian companies, building up economy, and there is a lot of great things. And plus we have internet right now. We have like all the world like on a hand, right? So people can see like Ukrainian person who live in Canada or in America, how tough and not easy, to settle there. It's very different life from Ukraine, and they hear all the story, and it's not it's not something very attractable to many of them. They hear about homesickness and all these things. And that's these all videos, they make them very down to earth with the expectations about life abroad, and it's that's why it's one more reason why Ukrainian people think, okay, it's not about where I live, it's about with whom I live, right? And how I build my life, what I'm doing in my life.
I agree everything you said. I absolutely agree with it all. For me, again, okay, I had this view of Ukraine as it was in the Soviet Union. Okay, there would be people queuing for bread, very austere, grey, not particularly inspiring. And of course, when I started to look into it, this was before I sort of made serious intentions to go there. I could see it's not like that at all, actually. And I could see, videos of Kiev and whatever. Crikey, it looks really good. When I went there, I was blown away, literally. I thought it was an amazing city. Okay, in fact, it's been heartbreaking since the war's broken out, seeing some of the destruction there. Thankfully, Kiev hasn't been as badly affected as some other areas, but it's quite heartbreaking seeing places that I've been to on several occasions, with sort of defences and bridges blown up and stuff. And it was like, how could you do this? This city is as cosmopolitan as Paris or Amsterdam, anywhere in Europe. Kiev is as cosmopolitan. The food is as good, the services is good, the quality of the accommodation is as good, the public transport system is amazing, the metro system. So I'm saying it had everything as a city for me. And, for people to think it's some sort of third world, poor place is not true. The other thing I will say is, once you venture out of Kiev and you start going to the village areas, there you see a little bit more traditional. Okay, so I think in some of your earlier videos, Joey, you show village life and how it looks. And there is a bit of a stark comparison. Okay, but having said that, they've still got internet. They've still got these other things that you would expect. It's just that I thought Kiev was amazing. I was actually looking forward, and we had plans this year, to go to Lviv and Odessa and other places, until the situation broke out, So, yeah, absolutely 100%. It's not the austere Soviet country that people think it is. I came away thinking, it's impressive, it's cosmopolitan, it's modern. There's, you've still got the mix of the past, so you can see the history in terms of where it's come from. But I'll say something else, and I said it at the time. There was money there. You could see money. Okay, so you would see, as we would say in UK, Range Rovers, and Jaguars and stuff. You'd see that there's money there. So to think that it's some sort of like poor place again where people are desperate to escape, No, it's not actually. And no, you can, if you had a mind to, I think, have a good life there. You know, pre-war, obviously, and we'll have to see what happens now. Yeah, it was good. It was a good quality place.
Gary, let's talk about the silver lining that you got to experience and you got to benefit from, which guys now during, honey, you're distracting.
Hey, don't invite me on the live stream. I'm very distracted for you.
What was I talking about? What's my name?
The silver lining.
Sorry, we got to end the live stream. It's emergency end to the live stream now. Bye-bye. Honey, come on.
Okay, I'll bring more water. You want water?
Okay, please. Let me just say we're yeah, about the silver lining. So guys now during the wartime, they have this opportunity to come and meet their lady in Poland or Germany, wherever she is. If it goes well, they can invite her to Canada, America, Australia, UK, and save a shit ton of money on the fiance visa fee. $10,000 in Australia just for the fee, even if she's not approved, that fee is gone. UK has about a $10,000 US fee as well.
Yeah, well,
but you saved that is the point. You saved that because she came during wartime. Tell us a little bit about that.
We did, yeah, because you know we sort of knew in advance when we were planning that you know the whole immigration thing was going to be costly, okay, both financially and in terms of time, in terms of preparation of the documents, because I don't know what, I can't speak for the other countries, but certainly for UK, it was very intensive in terms of documentation. Okay, it was a big sort of bundle like this. So you know, we were paying a third-party company in Kiev to help us with the whole immigration thing. Okay, but we still hadn't paid the fees yet in terms of what we were ultimately going to pay. So not only was it the immigration fees, but within the UK we have something called the National Health Service. So you know, every you know UK citizen is a member of that. It entitled to sort of free healthcare at the point of use. But of course, people who are emigrating into the UK have to pay for this. Okay, and that was a fee. If you wanted to work in the UK as well as the immigration fee for coming in, you had to pay that extra. You know, so there was these incremental fees. So by the time you added everything up for Elena and the little girl, we were up around 10,000 US. Okay, in terms of that fee. We were just about to pay that for them to come when the war broke out. So of course everybody disappeared. The UK embassy closed in Kiev, so we couldn't actually physically progress it. But then, you know, the UK, as have many other countries in the world, they brought in specific schemes for Ukrainian residents, refugees, as they're classed, to come here. And we took advantage of that. So actually, we saved 10,000 US because they didn't have to pay those fees. So, you know, it makes a big difference. Yeah, it's, you know, I don't like to describe it as this, but it's the only positive that's come out of this whole thing. As far as, you know, what's happened. So, yeah, we did save. And I'm aware now most of the other countries who previously had visa requirements and finances, you know, financial requirements for that, they've disappeared.
Yeah, it's lightning fast. I mean, Anna and I and the family, well, not me, I'm Canadian, but they were approved in basically 2 weeks.
Yeah, I do.
We have other clients that were approved for America. Their ladies were approved for America in a week. It's just everybody is so fast. It's such a huge plus now and reason.
And actually for us, not just Elena and our little daughter, but I've got her mum and dad here at the moment, okay? And again, their visas are free and they've got the same visa, so it entitles them to stay here for up to 3 years. And they can work, access services, you know, due to management tight regulations. Yeah, that's true. I can see the message there. That is true, and that's why the immigration processes are so rigorous, because in the UK in particular, there was a history, not so much with Ukrainians or East Europeans, but certainly with Asian women and people from the Philippines who were marrying British men, and they'd just been scam marriages, and as soon as they got their passport, they were off. So I understand why it became like that. But yeah, so Rudy's right there in terms of there being extra rigor on it. But what I was going to say was, yeah, so her mum and dad are here at the moment on the same scheme. Again, their visas were free. So previously that would have cost, again, similar amounts of money for them to be able to spend any, significant period of time here beyond visa. We've just had, as well as we've got a house full at the moment, okay? So as well as Elena's mum and dad, and they're all very welcome, by the way, we've got her sister-in-law and her nieces here as well. So they've come in on the free visa scheme. So, it really helps with the family relationships, because Anna said something earlier I wanted to comment on. Homesickness is a big thing, okay? And I knew even before Elena settled here that she was going to require regular contact with her family, okay, and regular visits back to Ukraine. And we'd agreed that, we said, yeah, it's important for you because the culture is different, okay? Obviously, she's got English language, but it's still a challenge sometimes. And, you miss just not being with like people or having like people around. As warm, as welcoming as my family have been, and they're all really supportive and they love it to bits, okay? The reality is that it's very, very stressful experience moving countries and adapting to new culture. You talk about coming here with no job, etc., not knowing anybody, trying to settle into a new neighborhood, trying to find schooling for the little girl, many different things that are challenging and difficult to adapt to, which obviously comes after that sort of romance of getting married and all that good stuff, isn't it? It's the practicalities of living together as a married couple. And we've had our stresses and strains in that regard, no different to any other relationship in that regard, and we're working through a number of those now. But, it's a big thing for Ukrainian ladies to leave Ukraine and go and live somewhere else. It's not, you should be grateful or any of that bullshit, okay? They genuinely miss their homeland and their relatives and everything else, as you and I would, if you move away.
And it's been a huge plus for Elena to be able to have her parents, right, to help with her amalgamation into UK society, right, to help with the homeschooling.
Yeah, it's made a big difference, Joe. To be honest, it's really helped. Our plan was actually that her mum at least would have come with her initially anyway to help with that transition. So but again, I was going to pay for that. So it was going to be that she was going to come for a period. As it turned out, they've had to flee because the area they were living in was sort of under direct threat at the time. But they're very welcome to stay here as long as they like. The reality is, Joe, most of these people will go back to Ukraine when they feel it's safe enough to do so. Obviously, I hope that's not the case with Elaine.
Yeah, the experts are saying maybe, of course not. But the experts are saying maybe only 1 million, or that's what they're expecting, will permanently stay out of Ukraine, like attrition. Ukrainian people lost because of the war. So here's my favorite question, and you and I know each other fairly well, lots of heart-to-hearts. If today's Gary could go back in time to before you met Elena and tell you, the younger Gary, 1 year younger, what would be the top 3 things, tips you would give him as to what would you do differently on this process?
Wow, you put me on the spot. Why didn't you give me the heads up?
Well, my style. We don't script anything. We just fly by the seat.
Do you know what? Crikey. I think for me, I suppose we've had the bumps, I think, post-marriage that we would have had pre-marriage had we not married so quickly. Okay. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing or a good thing, because you can have the bumps anyway. I guess for us, because we'd already made the commitment, we got married, we worked through the bumps, if you like, and we did have some big bumps. Okay, this. Okay, so we sort of worked through. So for me, right, a big mistake I made, right, and I give this advice to any Western man. I thought going to Ukraine and meeting a Ukrainian lady, okay, would be the same as meeting a Western lady, and it would just be the same sort of relationship, and you'd instinctively know, as Western people do, you know, how to react to certain things. And no, the culture is different, okay? Their reactions are different. Their expectations of you are different. The role of the male person in the relationship is in their eyes different. So for me, if I was speaking to younger Gary, I'd say, try and understand a bit more about the cultural differences that you're going to go into, because that's caused some friction between us, because my expectations of her would be based on my experiences with the relationships with Western women, and they're not the same. Similarly, she would say the same. Her expectations of me would have been based on her experiences with basically Ukrainian men. She'd been married before, so you know, she's married to a Ukrainian man previously. So we both had that little bit of a misunderstanding of, well, I thought you meant this. No, well, I meant that. Well, I expect you to do this. You know, it's almost that, because your experiences are big, you know, your expectations in some respect are based on your past experiences, and they're different. So I would say that's number one, is a big thing. Secondly, international relationships are not easy. Okay, so again, mistake I'm ashamed to say this was, I thought, you know, like we've said, that oh, she'll be so happy about being able to come to the UK. Do you know what I'm saying? That, you know, I don't have to worry about that bit of it. You know, she'll automatically want to come, and it's like, no. The reality is she's got to feel safe and comfortable, you know, and that the opportunity is going to be there, because she already has those things where she is. Bear in mind, this was a highly qualified lady who had a really good job, okay, which she gave up, you know, and all of that life. So the reality is, don't assume that what you're offering is automatically better than what she's already got, because in her case, it's not the case. Actually, in some respects, for her, we're trying to replicate that here. We're trying to replicate it here, because I'm trying to think, she had a really good job, actually. We're going to have to work now to get the same sort of thing for her that she had previously, because nobody wants to go backwards. So again, this land of milk and honey thing is bullshit, you know. Yes, I believe genuinely for her there are really good opportunities for her here in this country, okay, where she can earn, to be honest, a lot more money. But the standard of living, the cost of living is a lot higher here than it is in Ukraine. So comparatively, she's probably not going to be an awful lot better off. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a different pond, right? Isn't it? And this one, same thing. I couldn't convince her to move to Canada until, well, now the war came, and it just makes sense, right? But yeah, she was not eager to go to Canada either. Couldn't convince her. But yeah, you have a better standard of living, you know, bang for buck kind of thing in Ukraine by a long shot, maybe 4-1. Yeah, you know, Gary, that's fantastic. Two fantastic insights from a happily married man. You know, maybe we can squeeze one more out of you.
Well, I was racking my brains. I was talking about the other two. I think the other thing for me is, despite the stresses and strains, okay, of the immigration, the move to another country, that, you know, the sort of the whole settling thing, sometimes you have to sort of remember what brought you together in the first place, isn't it? So we're always very, very keen to have that, you know, those periods of romance, because, you know, we have these date nights that we have, you know, at least once a week, because we have a young daughter. It's very difficult sometimes to have quality time, okay? So what we do is we make sure that we still have that interest in each other, and that, you know, we spend time with each other, with nobody else around. And I think that's really important. Again, it's for us, we're still relatively young in our relationship. We only got married last August. You know, I've only known her, you know, for, what is it, 18 months plus or whatever it is. No, it's longer than that now, isn't it? It's coming up to 2 years, I guess, almost. So we're still relatively young in our relationship. So it's important, I think, to still invest the time in each other, because, you know, you can get lost in day-to-day life, and I think you lose almost the reason as to why you got together in the future. Which for me was that different cultural experience, the different type of personality, everything that, you know, if I had hair would have caused me to pull my hair out. Actually was the reason why I went into in the first place, for something different. And sometimes I have to say, Gary, you're moaning about this, but actually it's what you wanted. You remember, and think, oh yeah. And when we have a nice romantic date night, you remember, I've got a stunning lady. You talk about punching above your weight, okay, Joe? And you are punching above your weight, okay? But I am massively punching above my weight in that stage. You know, I've got a really high quality lady who is absolutely superb. You know, I can't speak highly enough of her, and it was worth, you know, all of the waiting, all of the hassle, really. And I'm you know, I'm convinced we've got a really long and hopefully happy future together. You know, there's nothing that makes me think at the moment that no, this is a disaster and I should never have done it. So I think if you're brave enough and if you're up for it, then as you said, get off your ass and actually do what you think, you know, you want to do, but be prepared for it not to be easy.
Wow.
Such a deep, wise, inspirational message. We should post it everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is going to be a clip we have to take and republish as a separate video, because 3 amazing pieces of advice. Absolutely.
Very much.
Yeah, and it's a reminder to us to keep date night alive, because it's easy.
Absolutely.
You know, 1 week to go by, 2 weeks, 1 month to like, oh, we haven't had a date in a while, honey.
It's easy,
especially with kids, and you have a toddler basically.
We do.
And that
2.5, 2.5. Yeah. 2.5. So you know, they can take up all the time, as you know. Okay, take up all the time. So you have to plan that time, and you have to, you know, you have to commit to it. And we're lucky that we've got Elena's parents to help with that regard. But you know, you still got to make the effort, because it's easier to do. Do you know what? We just lie in and we'll do nothing. No, dress up. You know, put your glad rags on. Remember how sensational this person looks, because when I take her out, I shouldn't say this, but I see others looking, and I think, yeah. You know, yeah, with me.
Yeah, your glasses aren't foggy. Don't worry, you don't have to clean your glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a thing. When you punch above your weight, you get a lot of what do you call Googlers? Yeah, Googlers.
Yeah.
What's the word? Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Oglers. We would say oglers. Yeah, oglers. Yeah, just people just looking and thinking, really.
So I'm gonna show you a little bit, Garrett, what beautiful presents you have coming up in your future, because you have the same as us. So our young one, she put her makeup on today. She's starting at 4 doing makeup, right? As much as we try to discourage it, you can't. I mean, she's got to do it. So you put on 1 blue eyeliner, 1 pink, and a little bit lipstick. And she's practiced to do a video for everybody alive, but she had to go to sleep, and she was very upset.
She wake up already.
Oh, she wake up?
That she's still not live.
But she'll be post-afternoon nap doldrums. So anyway, here's a pre-recorded of our little girl, and then we'll be right back. And this is what you can look forward to, Garrett.
Hello, everyone. 1, 2, 3. I need your love. I need your time. When everything's wrong, you make it right. I feel so high. I come alive. I need to be free with you tonight. I love you.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Oh, I'm so in love with my little girls. It's amazing. It's amazing. What do you think, Gare, about the critique about single moms? Because actually your story is Elena had already adopted Dasha, right? Just before she had met you. So basically she was a single mom. What do you say about the naysayers about single moms? That's a good question.
It shouldn't, for me, you know, if you're up for it, it shouldn't for me be a negative. Okay. In fact, there are many positives. for me, okay, at as I was 54 years of age then, I thought the opportunity for me to have a young family had gone. Okay, if I was honest, I'd been in 2 long-term relationships previously, neither of whom had expressed any particular interest in having a young family. I always wanted it, but I never pushed it enough, I guess, because, like most things, you're involved in your career and everything else. So I never really pushed it. So I actually got to the right old age that I got to and thinking, it's passed me by, okay? So when I sort of met her, and when I was looking generally, it wasn't a thing that I was particularly negative about, okay? Even though I'm not particularly experienced myself with bringing up children. Of course, I've got nieces and nephews. My sisters have children, friends and family around me had them. And I always felt comfortable. So something I always thought I wanted. So I think it's a very individual thing, Joe. But I would say it would be wrong to say, oh, no, I don't want it. It's a negative. Because there are moments of pure joy, as you will know, okay, with a young man who looks up to you.
Many moments every day. Yeah.
Who looks up to you, who takes your guidance, who repeats things after you. And of course, I've got a sort of bilingual child, really, whose native language is Ukrainian stroke Russian, who's now will sit and watch, nursery rhymes, as we call them in this country, with me. And, she says English words back to me, So, we have this little game where, I'll say something in Russian and she'll say it back to me in English. And, it's that development is because of where we are, and she's in an English speaking nursery now here. So, it I would say is, okay, for me, it adds to the relationship. It doesn't detract from the relationship. So it's not something that makes me less positive about being with Elena. It actually adds to that story. So I'd say to anyone, really, don't write it off. Don't look at it and think, I don't want children, it's baggage or whatever. It depends on your mindset. You can get joy from it, real joy, and the children, moreover, will get real joy from it as well. So don't be negative about it, would be my advice. Unless you're dead set against it, obviously. If you're dead set against it, there's no point.
Well, what do you say about the differences? Because about Western single moms and Ukrainian single moms, because guys really rag on Western single moms, but they don't know what is a Ukraine single mom. Do you see a big difference? What's your perspective?
Yeah, it's a good point, actually, Joe, because not once did Elena ask me to provide or give anything for her child, okay, before we got married. She never said, I need this, I need that. She saw her child as her responsibility, okay. She was very open with me from the outset about how important her child was to her and the role that the child would need to play in any relationship going forward. So she was very open and honest from the outset that, I would have to step up, okay? And for me, it was more about this expectation of, well, you've got to pay for this, you've got to take that on, it's your responsibility. I never had any of that. I always had, it's our choice to be together with this child if that's what you want and if that's what I want. And, you will be, a father to the child going forward. I think my experience with Western relationships, the first lady I was with did have children from a previous marriage, was a bit different insofar as, almost from the get-go, it was a case of such and such needs this, such and such needs that. It was more a case of you wouldn't necessarily be the person's father or the guiding light, but you would still be expected to take on some of that responsibility. So I think there is a subtle difference. I think, we're very much seen as a family unit. I mean, our little girl is adopted, okay? So, we bring her up as our own, as we would. So she's smothered in love and attention from everybody, really. But, yeah, look, it's difficult for me to speak with any sort of authority in it because I've got no significant experience of children previously. That's all I know is it's, there are moments of pure joy on a daily basis. And, as much as it's hard sometimes when they're not very well and they won't sleep and all this sort of stuff, you realise that it's a big job, it's a big job and you've got to be up for it. But no, the rewards are there, you know, if you're prepared to make that investment. But I've got nothing negative to say about it, if I'm honest with you. I can't say that it's detracted from our relationship. It's added to it. But an old geezer who thought he would never have a young family and would never have someone calling him daddy. I never expected that, and now I've got it. And you know, it is quite joyous.
Very happy for you, Garrett. I know that I remember the first time our oldest daughter, she called me daddy first. And then I remember the first time our youngest daughter called me daddy. And there's no better feeling in the world. It's incredible. And yeah, I could go on this for a long time about the difference between single moms in Western world and Ukrainian in Ukraine. But I'll leave this for you. I just think there's a lot of other differences, and they're all pluses for Ukrainian women. So guess what? We have tallied the votes, and we have the winner, guys. 10 seconds. We'll be right back.
Imagine meeting as many beautiful traditional ladies as it takes until you meet the one. That's exactly what you can win right now.
So we have the winner. Are you guys ready?
Don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. I don't need it.
Unless you become Muslim. But somehow I don't see Elena putting up with that. Second wife. No. So are you ready? Do we have any drum roll or anything? No, I have no sound effects. Are you ready? So it's the guy that was, I think, scammed. Well, it seems pretty clear. He was scammed the hardest. And it's a hard scam too. So $80,000. You guys remember Tim's story? So he is the winner. I think everybody had empathy for him. And yeah, so congrats, Tim. You really deserve it. You've paid your dues. Now it's time for karma to come back to you in a good way. So congrats. I will give you a call as soon as our live stream finishes. Yeah. So guys, please write in comments. And after the video is not live anymore, in the comments below, did you enjoy part 1 and part 2 of Scam School? Did you enjoy school today? Would you like us to do it next month? Please write your comments below, and anything that you liked or didn't like, you would like to see more of this, or this was boring, you know, what you would like to see, please let us know. And Gary, thank you very much for sharing. We're so happy for you and Elena and Dasha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
It's a pleasure.
So guys, we will leave you on this note here. We will say goodbye with where is it?
Something positive, yes?
Yeah, something very positive.
Okay.
We asked our clients, basically, was it worth it, this journey at the end of the day? Would you do it again? And here's how they answered. Thanks, Gary. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're going to pay an amount of money, but you're guaranteed to meet people who are interested in meeting you, and all of them were, you know. I had to decide who I was interested in, so it's night and day. It's really night and day.
Like, I came for 6 days. My very first date, we hit it off and have been like this ever since.
So was it worth it?
Totally worth it, because you guys are screening, so you're eliminating the wheat from the chaff. It eliminates some risk for me, because I was here before previously, and you know, I can tell you that if you have a bad agency, or if you have or if you're doing it on your own, you have a very, very high chance of falling on, you know, women who are in it for money, just for gifts and everything like that. And you just eliminate the gold diggers.
I made the decision to join Match Guarantee, and having made that decision, primarily seeing the videos on YouTube and looking at the success stories, I felt it would be a good option for me. We know we're on a journey, yeah? You know,
yes,
we're at
exactly.
the very start of the journey.
Yes.
Match Guarantee is a very authentic
genuine agency. The intent of Match Guaranty is to help foreign men find true love. I'm very happy to be a client of Match Guaranty, and I've had a very good experience.
What I liked about the agency was that I wasn't smothered. They didn't try to mother me or direct me. They made introductions. It was just very natural.
Actually, it wound up that one of the ladies that Titania had suggested is the one that worked out right with me, because when I met her, I knew she was the right lady for me to be with. And so I just highly recommend the services of Match Guaranty, because their purpose seems to be to match people and not just go with this fantasy world.
Find yourself a good company like Match Guaranty that's honest, with real ladies that you can trust. Ladies of quality, like you say, fishing from the right pond.
Match Guaranty is not a small investment, but it's a very good investment if you're really looking to find somebody.
Working with Match Guaranty is actually less cost, it's much more efficient, and you have a good process on the way where you actually will be successful in your search.
I was surprised. I was very inundated with the amount of ladies that I was going to meet. Very, very beautiful women.
So let's see, in total I went on around, it was 10 first dates. They were all incredibly beautiful, so much more than their photos. Compared to back home, yeah, I'm definitely out of my league.
You know, don't be super cautious. Relax, especially trust Joe and Match Guaranty, and personally I can put my stamp of approval.
Match Guaranty definitely delivered, I will say that, and I can't be happier really with the decision to go ahead and give it a try.
Joe and Match Guaranty made everything happen for me, and I couldn't be happier with where I'm at right now.
The expense of Match Guaranty is money well spent. It's a guarantee that you will meet women. It's a guarantee that you'll find somebody, and you'll also be able to do so in a very reasonable period of time.
Met some quality women, two of whom that I have a real connection with.
Few words about Match Guaranty, like it's really awesome. It's value for money. I can say that for sure, because it's not just matchmaking, it's coaching. That's the core, like, you know, that's the cream of the whole cake.
This is a lot of money. It's almost $10,000 Canadian. You know, I felt kind of crazy, but I went, you know what, I'm going to do it because, you know, I think I'm worth it. I don't spend a lot on myself, but, you know, I have to move forward and find a relationship.
I've enjoyed it from, like I said, from start to finish. The girls seem like they're a lot more genuine. You can tell that the fraud or the fakeness that I've experienced in the past it isn't there.
They've done a wonderful job for me. So far, I can close my eyes and I can tell Joe, finding a girl, and I can trust a girl.
What did you pay? Let's start, Ash, for the unlimited matchmaking partnership. What did you pay?
$8,000 total.
And what do you say about that? Was it worth it?
So, first of all, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was real, so I had to come here first to meet you, know you're real or not. I came and met Joe, and I was impressed by him and Tatiana and Olga and the website and how organized and the connections with the ladies. So I had no hesitation whatsoever, and I'm glad to. It's worth it, and worth a lot more than that, yes.
What did you pay for the unlimited matchmaking partnership, and was it worth it?
So the investment was $8,000, but it was well worth it to find the right person that I can hopefully spend the rest of my life with, and I've got no real complaints, and I wouldn't hesitate to do it again.
Of course it's worth it. You're investing in yourself. You're not purchasing a car that you trade in the future or something frivolous. You're investing in your life, a life partner, as a matter of fact. So how can you say $8,000 investing in yourself isn't worth your entire life being happy with someone? Like, I came for 6 days. My very first date, we hit it off and have been like this ever since. So how can you not say that spending $8,000 for that kind of relationship in that short of time is not worth it?
I'm in week 2. I'm in my second week, and I'm already going to Elena's hometown. So, and I'm meeting her family, and she's basically said she's interested. She just wants to see if I'm for real. So the opposite happens too. We have to see if they're for real, and she wants to see that I'm for real. She's like, "You're too good to be true." So she said that to me. So yeah. To contrast, look, I told you 3-4 years. I was looking on and off. So let's say 2 years constant, and here in 2 weeks I got more results than I got in 2 years in Canada. So it says a lot, right?
If you're looking for a decent, honest company that will help you find the one, Match Guaranty is a perfect choice.
Very, very overwhelming experience to this point. I could not have asked for more. It's been a great, great experience.
I am utmost thankful and grateful to Joseph and his team for the counseling. Match Guaranty led me down the right path.
You're doing it for more than just the fees you received. You get, you really want to help people.
So $8,000 may sound like a lot of money, but I can tell you that in my experience, the opportunity to meet a variety of different great women in just a little over a week's time, and to establish something meaningful with a girl who has incredible model-like beauty as well as a lot of depth of character. She speaks 4 different languages. She's very intelligent and family-oriented. It's quite a bargain at that rate, as far as I'm concerned.
So yeah, it's worth it. And also the quality of the women, I can say, all the women I've met without exception have been intelligent, educated. They have a high level of culture. Literally everyone I've met has wanted to learn. They ask a lot of questions about, how things are in Canada. They'll talk to you about politics. They'll talk to you about sports. They'll talk to you about everything. It's a huge difference.
For me, the hardest part was looking past the beauty and actually finding someone who I want to marry and be with the rest of my life.
So at the end of the day, I couldn't be more happy with this investing in myself and my future.
Stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street life, people.
It was worth every penny and more. Now I would have invested 10 times more for the love of my life.
Huge thanks to Joe and huge thanks to Tatiana. I'm enjoying the journey.
Never stop to dream about something. If you really want to do something and want to receive something in your life, everything is possible. Yeah.
Just gotta dream.
It doesn't matter from which country we are. It's just we find out each other. Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose that we are out there. We are soulmates. Yeah. And then just to wish happy to everyone who will join, who will apply to your agency and something like this. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah, very happy. Eh?
Give Joe a chance, and you'll be very happy.
Match Guaranty is the real deal. Match Guaranty kicks ass.
Hey, hello. We wish you to meet your soulmate from the Rickards family. Hope you enjoyed school today. We'll see you next month for school. Bye. Bye-bye. Next time you can dance, okay, Lizinka? Yeah?